Hello and welcome back to the studio where we paint away the stress of everyday life here in Wales. Now I've got a pre-gessoed primed canvas to my right hand side. It's a canvas panel board and it's made by Winsor & Newton and it's an 18 by 14 inch. That's 457 by 356 millimeters. I know because it says over there. Okay, so I don't know if you could see that painting there we did a good few weeks ago now, and I've been asked to do another one very similar to that, and I thought it would be a good idea if I did that. But before we actually get on to the painting, let me have a quick look at the palette with you, and you can see that I've got a couple of selection of colours. Now I want to draw your attention to this little tube there. There you go. This is actually a thickening agent that I produce. I make my own paints now and they are available on the website if you want to pop along there, www.clive5art.co.uk. Now the reason I want to introduce you to this is because I need to make this paint a bit thicker. You can see the cerulean blue there it's quite a thin paint. So all I need to do now is get a little bit of my thickening agent. I need to put a little amount, only a small amount, that's all you need, a tiny amount like that. I'm just going to put the lid back on my tube of paint and put that safe, and then get a palette knife or some other mixing implement and then just mix that directly into the paint, and you can see automatically that's going to thicken your paint up. Now you can use this in any acrylic paint to make it a heavier bodied paint. It's not going to increase the pigment, it's just going to increase the viscosity or the thickness of the paint you're using. There you go, and that's going to make life a little bit easier. I might have to add a little tiny bit more. It all depends how thick you want to make this paint, but experiment. And as I said, you can use that all across the board for all different types of paint. And as I've said, that's available on my website, so please pop along there and order some of that if you want. Okay, so looking at the canvas panel, we need to put a little bit of an outline on that now. So I'm just going to continue thickening up my paint 1 second, but put that down. I'm going to pick up a long handled short flat. There you go. I got a bit of my medium mix again, which is available. I'm just going to get a thin wash of burnt umber, and the reason I use a medium mix is because it's got a resin base to it and it doesn't over thin my paints and doesn't unbind them. So I'm going to look at my scene. I want my horizon line to be somewhere there like that. What I'll do, I'll take a photograph of this after and then I'll make that available on the website for you. I got again like that one there, I got a riverbank which maybe coming down there like this, and this reminds me of a little walk I had the other day. There you go. Down by the river. And that's just going to disappear. And we got some foliage and things there. We got some foliage here which is going to come down. So we'll just put a little bit of that in there like this. This is going to go over the possible hanging over the water there. There might be a tree trunk or something there possibly. We got a little bit of foreground there just to frame the shot. There you go. It's quite loose and free really. You need to go out and take some photographs of things and experiment. Even if you're just beginning, it's important that you do that. And that's all we need. That's it. Do I need to take a photograph of that? I don't think so, but I will anyway. We got in Wales we got quite a lot of mountains, so I need to put some sort of mountain in there like that. That's it. Easy as that. So I'm going to just take a photograph of that just very quickly. I'll take a photograph of that and I'll put that on the website, and that's going to be there ready for you to try and download if you want to. Okay, so let's look at this sky. Now, there's a nice colour sky. So now I got a bit of blue there. I'm just going to mix a bit of that blue there like that. I'm going to mix a bit of this ultramarine blue with it. There you go. Let's make a nice sky colour. It's a bit warm. My friend Jason told me that mix, so I'm going to give it a try because I haven't painted with that mix yet. What I want to do now is just quickly block that out. I'm just going to grab a short flat. There we go. I haven't got anything prepared today. So I'm just going to add a little bit of moisture to this, and I'm just going to go in with some colour like that, a little bit of white. Scrubbing that in. You can hear the marble dust gesso that I'm using. I've used an acrylic gesso mix with marble dust. There is a tip there available. If you want to pop into the iCards, which is in the top corner there, I'll put a link in there to my tip playlist, and I'll show you how to make this marble dust gesso if you want to have a go. Just loosely mixing that colour in. You can see the ultramarine blue has got a little bit of a warm tinge to it. There you go. Looks quite good. Bit of a mix match of colour. That's a very thin wash. Now we're going to increase the thickness of the paint as we progress through this painting, but I want that to look quite distant there. So I'm going to go back into my little long-handled short flat. There we go. So I'm sticking with the blues. I got a little bit of Prussian blue there. I just want to darken that blue we mixed with the ultramarine blue and the cerulean blue. I just want to darken that off a touch, and I just want to put in a couple of marks like this. Bring in a bit more of that. Getting the shape of these mountains. I'm going to get a little bit of yellow just on the tip of that brush. I'm going to bring in a bit of yellow straight into that blue, because it's going to make that blue-greeny type of colour. Just keep building that up. Just add a bit more blue. Don't paint like that, paint with the edge of the brush and just get that colour, the play we need to lighten that up a touch. I'm just going to bring a little bit of white to the tip of my brush. When things are distant, they look blue. There you go. Bit of yellow. Let's get some yellow in there. I hope you can see this. Yes, you can. Bring a bit of white to my yellow. Just want to keep merging this colour together, and eventually it will all blend. You'll have that nice smooth effect that I'm trying to get. I'm going to go back into a bit of yellow now. I'm just going to bring in a bit more yellow over there like this. Get some blue with some white. Mountains and things where I live, and you can see bits of blue, bits of green. You can see buildings in there, and this maybe let's get some buildings or something. Just touches of colour just to represent maybe there's a village or something there. Can't define it really because it's so distant. Let's get a bit of yellow and a bit of Prussian blue, a bit of white. Play around with this a little bit now. A bit of ultramarine blue. Just play around. Let's just keep playing around with colour. Let's get a bit of yellow. Mix a bit of cerulean blue with that. Cerulean blue, I should say. Nice light colour, the white. Don't forget that thickening agent's in this paint, so it's making it quite thick and sticky. Maybe some distant trees and stuff there like that. Developing a little bit of landscape there in the background. Let's get a bit more white to that. Let's get some bits and pieces there like that. A bit more green. Let's mix some green. Let's use a little bit of ultramarine blue this time with that yellow. And now let's start putting some more defined marks, just to bring this land together a little bit. A bit of yellow ochre now. I want to put a bit of yellow ochre into this landscape. Just breaking that colour up. Putting the paint on thicker now. The ultramarine blue. Let's just get a bit of shadow coming down and there. Bit of ultramarine blue. Just increase that colour. Just make little marks like that. Don't worry if there's a bit of green or yellow on your brush, that's okay. Just bring in a bit of colour. Let's get some cerulean blue now, a little bit thicker. Just making these marks like that. Be loose with the brush. This is what I want you to do now. I want you to start being looser with the brush and making a little bit more, be slightly more definitive with your brush marks. Okay, let's give my brush a quick wash. Just looking at this, I need to make a darker green now, so I'm going to get a bit of my yellow there. I'm going to get a small amount of Mars black, just the tip of my brush like that, because this is going to make a nice olivey looking type of green. And loaded the brush up really thickly, and again just making marks on the ground. Don't forget, think of grass when you're doing this. Think of grass and stuff. This is a riverbank that we got here. And it's nice to have that that feeling of making a mess sometimes. And I don't know how long this lesson will be, but it's just a matter of building up layers. And don't worry about a little bit of canvas showing through. I just added a little bit of white just to sparkle that green I made up a touch. There we go. Bring in a bit of light there. Nice and thick, this paint is nice and thick. Building up layers of paint. It's like oil paint. This is what I liked about this thickening agent that I've developed. It's it changes your paint, your acrylic paint. Makes it so nice, in fact. Just mixing up different greens and stuff and putting patterns in. Just covering this canvas up. And the acrylic paint does actually change colour as it dries, so this is going to darken, so don't be afraid of of experimenting with colours and going in a little bit light sometimes, and you know, just play around with different green mixes. You can get some wonderful looking greens. Bit of plain yellow, like as if there's a little bit of light catching in there. Here we are. Play with a bit of light. Just block that area up. Don't worry about little bits of canvas showing. That's not a problem. We'll just put in some basic marks there like this, just to clean your brush. Just get a bit of white coming through. There. Think of water now, and think of ripples in the water. And it's about relaxing and having fun. Just dipping my brush. This paint hasn't been thickened, so it's quite a loose, thin type of paint. And acrylics is all about layer building, so we can get this nice effect with this. There's a little bit of green, a bit of yellow on my brush, which is fine because water picks up reflections of everything above it, everything around it, and everything below it. Not so much reflections, but the colour will adopt what is flowing over. It'll take on colour that's above it, like the sky. It'll also take on stuff that's around it as well. So don't be afraid to experiment with waters and stuff like that. And above all, just relax and just have fun with it all. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. We're building this up nicely now. What I want to do now is I want to concentrate on this area here. So I'm just going to put in some blocks of colour, some blues, just a couple of different colours. Blue. Doesn't matter if it's too thick. Doesn't matter if it's thin. Just get some texture in there. Let's mix some green. Let's get some green in. There you are, like that. Get a bit more blue there. A bit of Prussian blue in here. Darken this area up. Bit of lighter blue. I'm using the same brush. I'm only using one brush at the moment, which is fun. Don't overwork the colours, and be careful you don't make mud on your brush. Every so often I squeeze the paint off the brush like that anyway. So I want a bit of light to be sparkling down there. I just tap my brush on the paper. So I did that and I went like that just to wipe the brush off. Let's have a look at this. Bit of cerulean blue. Let's just have a look at this bank here now. I want to put in a couple of darker marks here. Just alternating between colours, a bit of touch of blue, a touch of yellow ochre. Again, I'm going to get a bit of ultramarine blue, and I'm just going to put in some shadow marks here, like as if there's something hanging over the bank. Trying to define that edge. We want a nice green, so let's get a nice green going. I think I'm just going to mix the yellow ochre together. And I'm going to bring a bit of cerulean blue to that. Touch of white. A bit more white. We need to whiten it a bit. We want it to stand out. These are highlights, so we need it quite bright. And don't forget, as I said, acrylic paint will dry a bit lighter. So just get a few lighter marks like that. Just added a bit more white. I'm just doing a bit more. Defining then. Trying to lead the eye down. Okay, clean the brush. I want to get some Prussian blue, bit of burnt umber to that, and a touch of black. It's a lovely purpley blue colour. Bit more black, bit more brown. Let me put another one. There, that's our trees. So just a little bit of moisture on the brush. I'm just using this, still using this long handled short flat. There you go. Still using this long handled short flat. I'm sitting back now. I'm just putting an odd branch or so in, like that. Maybe there you go. A few marks here and there. Now I'm going to clean that brush. I'm picking up my short flat again. This is my short handled short flat. So just using two brushes at the moment. I'm going to mix some yellow. I'm going to mix some Prussian blue with that. Nice dark colour. Loading that brush up, and I'm just going to put in some dark leaf shape pattern things like this. And be careful here because I want to leave little gaps there if I can, because it's not all. Let's get some yellow ochre. Do an area there like that. Yeah, a bit of blue. The other side of that tree, just to I tell you what we're missing on here. We're missing a bit of red. We need a bit of orange, I think. Let me just get a small amount of red there. We need to have a bit of warmth to this, so red and green go really well together, so let's mix up just a little bit of orange using some red, cadmium red, a little bit of medium yellow and a little bit of yellow ochre, and just put in a bit of warmth. Maybe have a bit of that over there as well, just to balance this off. I think a bit of warmth in the background. Mix a bit of colour in like that. Let's get some this lighter yellow. It's in between there. Dark green. Mix some more dark green up. Just make little marks like that. Get a bit of Prussian blue. Just make a bit of shadow. Oh, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. I need to wash that brush. Okay, let's get a bit of blue, a bit of yellow, a bit of white. Let's get some cooler tones in there. Just get a bit of white, just to sparkle across there. I think there's a bit of a ripple in that water. Shadow. Bit of yellow ochre. Let's look at this tree again now. Let's put some lighter indications and all different types of foliage. You can get the smaller brush on this in a second, just add smaller brush marks, but for now I'm just building up some background colour. Just filling in the gaps at the moment. Just getting an idea of this bank area. A bit of yellow ochre there. It's just a matter of getting rid of the canvas a little bit. I'm leaving a little bit of canvas showing through, but I want it a bit darker there. I think it's nice to show a little bit of canvas through. Adds a little bit of it adds something. I don't know quite what it adds, but it adds something. It does add something. So I'm just cleaning my brush now. I'm just looking at this. I think maybe I want to bring a bit of white down. And there, a bit more white down here maybe. With a painting like this, I'm starting to get a little bit tonally challenged with my eyes. So I think I'm going to have to let it rest a little bit and then let it darken up. I'm going to make myself a cup of tea, I think, and then I can come back in and play a little bit more and put a bit stronger, put some stronger lines in here and there. There we go. So we need to define things a little bit more, but I can't do that now because it's wet. I want that to dry off a bit, so I shall be back in a tick. Okay, so I hope you can see that I've come back now. Just had my nice cup of tea. Had my nice cup of tea, and I thought, right, it's dried off. It's okay. I can live with that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get myself my little brush, my long handle brush. I'm just going to strengthen these trees up a touch. So I want to put a little bit of a thicker, let's get some brown. I want to put a bit of a thicker trunk just in these trees like that. There you go. I'll do. Now, looking at this, what I need to do now, I think, is I'm just going to pick up one of my little brushes. This is a flat. I sell these particular brushes on my website. You want to pop along there and have a look at those. I'm just going to get a bit of blue. I want a bit more of a blue-green. So just going to mix that blue-green together. And these are quite nice, soft bristles on these. I quite like. So I'm just going to put in a few little marks like this. Being loose. I thought it might be a bit of fun if I also put a few leaves like that. Maybe there's a tree just off there, like that. Let's get a bit of yellow on there as well. Again, using the same type of technique. I'm just loading the brush up and I'm just going to tap down a little bit of colour like that. I'm going to put a couple of lines in there in a minute just to represent maybe a few branches and things. Let's get some of this lighter green now. Just a few little marks like that. Adding a bit of white to it. I think what I'll do, I'll bring a bit of yellow over there. Make it more yellow. And just put a few little marks. What I did then, I just took a little bit of paint off my brush on some kitchen paper. Just put a few marks there like that, just to brighten that up a touch. I want a nice bright colour now, so I've just gone in with the paint I got on my brush. I've just gone in directly to that white. If I want to put more white on the palette, I can. That's not a problem. I'm just going to put a few little highlight marks like this. There you go. It's starting to come. I'm just going to dot in a few little white marks there. I'm going to get into some pure yellow. We're just well, I say pure yellow, I just want a hint of green to it. There we are, just a hint of green. And let's start putting some lighter colours in there like this. Just marks like that. A couple of different marks. There you go. Let's bring a bit of that white to it. Let's just lighten that colour up just a touch. Using the brush again very thinly and just tapping the colours in. A bit of yellow ochre. Get a bit of yellow, a bit of white onto that brush. Just make squiggly little marks like that maybe. Let's get some more. This green, let's lighten that up again. Just making little marks. Could be anything. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be anything. You can just. It's just a representation, really. And just play and just see where these shapes could live. That's all I'm trying to do now. Is I'm playing around, trying to brighten up a couple of colours, just to make it look as if it's made a bit of light catching in there. It's just all about looking at the colour and thinking maybe if we put a bit of light here, just to represent a few little trees, leaves I mean, trees. All our multitude of colours, and you're not actually painting anything, you're just putting little marks on. But as you stand back, it starts to look a lot more like a riverbank. So we put some darker colours again now against that background, because there's a mass of green in there, all different types of green. With the dark colour we put on earlier, it's going to look like a load of shadow in there. And then we can bring a little bit of colour, like as if there's maybe a few little leaves just catching a little bit of light, and it causes an optical illusion on the painting. There you go. You can see a little bit of, it's just a mass of colour, but it looks quite nice with all these different colour greens and things that are moving about in there like that. It's hard to know where one tree begins and another one ends. It's just a mass of green, which it is. If you look at some trees and bushes and things, you'll see that effect. You will. I'm just going to put that down. I'm picking up another long filbert, not a filbert, long handled short flat. There you go. Now I'm just going to put in a bit of shadow just under that bank. I'm going to put the same then there. I'm just going to drag in a couple of lines. Mixing a couple of different blues together. There it is. I just added a bit of water to this mix now. Paint that I got on my brush I've just mixed into some of that white greeny type of colour. I'm a bit thinner down there. It's not as thickly applied as the other one that I did, which is over there, but sometimes every painting is individual, so the painting is going to tell you what it needs. So you need to listen to your instincts as well, and sometimes it's better just to leave an area that's doesn't look finished, but as you stand back it's looking a lot nicer. It certainly is. So let's mix up some darker green, and I'm still using this short flat, and now I'm just going to put in some marks like this. Just putting a little bit of foreground into here. Again, using nice soft brush strokes. Getting some lighter colour. Let me just darken that area off there like that. Getting a few lighter colours in. Like this. A mass of green in there. Building up the colours, a few shadows, some darker colours in there. Oops, my board has just fallen off, so we'll have to work with it as it is, I think. There we go. I can't move it now. I can't do anything with that now. Some mass of colour. There we go. Just a mass of colour. You could put a one of those things in. This is like a what we call a bulrush. There you go. Just something like there, just to balance that off a touch. Put a bit of green in the water there. We need to put I'm just going to get a little filbert brush, filbert script lining brush, sorry, and just put a few little marks like that, and a few little branches here, and there's a few twigs, things sticking out to the foliage area. Make it a little bit more. Right, a bit of colour in there, like that. We need a bit of twigs, maybe just like that. Bit of white. These things sometimes have a little bit of like cotton wool fluffy type of stuff on them. There you go. But for now I think that'll be okay. I'm happy with that. I'm just going to sign this one, and if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. Upload every Monday. And all you need to do is put hashtag clive5art in the YouTube search bar, and all my videos are going to pop up. So thank you very much. Paint away the stress of everyday life with me in Wales, and have a good one with this one, and have some fun. Nice.